Thanks for hopping into our Functional Fitness Friday class. Good to see all of you. Last class before our 2 weeks of rest and a nice long break this winter before the new year starts. So we're gonna have a little bit of a warm up first. We're gonna get into some strength and endurance work and then have some stretching and some cool down at the end before we hop into our guided breathing. So we're going to go ahead and get started here now. First thing we're going to do is we're going to have our hamstring sweep. So we're going to get one foot out with our toe pointed up. We're going to reach back behind the hip and keep those fingers pressing out as we sweep down to the ground, extending up. We're going to keep that leg forward and just work through a couple of times as we keep sweeping through the back of the leg, trying to keep our back straight here. So you're not rounding out too much and really getting into a nice stretch as you sweep through. Go ahead and switch legs. And just working through all that tension, tightness on the back side of the leg. Few more. And last one. Good. All right. Now we've got our side step lunges, okay? So we're gonna get down into a little squat here, and we're just gonna lunge side to side on each leg. Moving back and forth, getting into those hips. Just nice and easy, stretching out the inside of the hips here. Okay, I'm gonna move the camera back just a little bit. All right. Next up, we've got our knee hugs. So we're gonna be standing nice and tall, reaching down, grabbing the shin and pulling the knee up, switching legs, grabbing the other shin and pulling the knee up. Nice controlled movements, stretching into the hips, glutes, and the back of the leg there. Let's go a few more. And last one. Good. All right. Next up, we're going to work into the front of the hip here. So we're going to pop down into a lunge. I'll drop this inside knee forward. But I'm going to get into a nice 90-degree starting position. So from the heel to knee to hip, hip to knee to heel. We've got 90 degrees through both legs. And from here, I'm going to drive this top knee forward, out over the toe. So as you can see here, my knee is now dropping past the toe and really stretching into this hip that's dropping down towards my heel here. Should be getting a nice opening, feeling, good stretch through the hip flexor there. And we're going to press back through the toes. Get back up tall and rocking back forward. And then pressing through the toes, extending the leg, rocking back and forth, and driving the knee forward. And driving back. Good. And switch legs. Getting that front foot forward. We're going to drive the knee. Opening up the opposite hip now. Really driving that knee forward out over the toes. And pressing back. And rocking forward. trying to keep that heel flat, that front heel flat on the ground as we come forward into the lunge and pressing back. And one more forward. And pressing back and relax. All right. Next up, we're going to rock into our plank to pikes. So we're going to get our hands down on the ground directly below the shoulders. We're going to pop the feet back as the knees come up. And from here, we're just going to rock into a pike position. And I want you to pick one foot up and press the toes down on the heel. So as to push the heel down into the ground, stretching out the calf of that foot on the floor. Getting a nice pike calf stretch. And switching sides. So other foot comes up onto the heel of the foot on the floor. Getting a nice stretch through the calves there. And rocking back to a plank and bringing the hips back up. Now driving both heels down, and we're just going to move back and forth between this plank and pike position, kind of warming up the shoulders, getting our core engaged, really lengthening out the back side of our legs, and getting everything sort of moving together in one movement. All right, last one we're going to do here. We're going to lay down onto our back. We've got a figure 4 knee to chest. So what we're going to do is laying flat on our back. You're going to pick one leg up and cross it over the knee so that it's folded into a figure 4 position. That leg that's still straight out, you're going to bend. So to pick the heel up. So if you can look at the screen, I've got one foot on my knee here and one knee bent so that I'm kind of brought up into this figure 4 position. That bent knee, I'm going to lean forward and grab and pull my opposite ankle into my chest using my knee. So I'm kind of folded up, stretching into this part of your hip, right into the glute. And switching sides. So now I've got my right knee bent, my foot flat on the floor. I'm picking up my other leg and bringing the bringing the ankle up to my knee. And then I'm picking my foot up, grabbing behind the knee and pulling into my chest. You're going to hold and keep pulling in and relax out. Okay, now we're going to get into the strength and endurance portion of our workout here. We're just going to go twice times through a little full body circuit I've got for you. So the first thing we're going to do is a split squat. So we're going to get 1 foot forward, about 1.5 feet, a foot or so in front of your hips. The other leg comes back about 1 foot to 2 feet, and you're just going to drop that knee straight down. So you're coming into a nice 90 position. We're going to go nice and slow on our down, tap the knee and press nice and slow up. Really controlling our movement here, not getting out of control and trying to repeat the same movement each time, okay? So you're really dropping that knee down, trying to get to a nice 90-90 position through the hips and the knees. We got a few more. and back. Okay, now if you're not necessarily feeling this in your legs, you want to feel it in your front leg. In order to do that, you want to bring your weight over the leg. So I can still get into this nice 90 position, but I'm bringing my chest over the knee so that when I drive up and down, my weight is more centered over this foot. Okay, so if you're having trouble feeling it in that front leg, try and just bring your chest over the knee a little bit, and you should be loading that front leg a lot more. Got a few more. And last one, rest. Good. Next up, we're going to work into our shoulders a little bit. So we're going to get into a nice bent position with our squat. We're going to do snow angel squat holds. Okay, so you're going to get into a bent squat. Hands are coming up out in front. And we're going to go out wide to the side, hands behind the hips, and back up. Getting nice, broad strokes here. Twisting the hands over as they come behind the hips. Getting a little rotation through the hands, as well as nice range and the big sweeping motion. A few more. And rest. Good. Next up, we have our low hold side steps. So I'm going to get on the edge of my mat here. I'm going to get into a low squat again. And we're just taking nice little lateral steps back and forth along the mat. Trying to keep those shoulders and hips level the whole time. Let's go, a few more seconds. Really starting to feel it in those legs. And rest. Okay, next up, we've got our push-up. So working into the shoulders and the chest, getting our legs a little bit of rest. We're gonna go down onto the knees. And I'm gonna do nice and slow. We're doing 4 count push-ups, okay? So we're right here, the shoulders above the hands. As you come down, the elbows tucked back by the hips and the ribs, nice and slow. And you're pressing back up, trying to count to 1, 2, 3, 4. Press up, 1, 2, 3, 4. Finishing your rep. So nice and slow, really thinking about stability through both shoulders and working the pressing motion through both hands at the same time. So you want to press the body away with even weight the whole time, not shifting to one hand over the other. That's where we build the strength and stability. Let's go one more. And done. Good. Next up, we have a 30-second plank to finish things out. So we're going down to the ground, forearms down, feet drop back, knees come up. We're going nice and flat through the shoulders and the hips, pushing the ground away from you with your elbows all the way through the shoulders, sucking your belly button up to your spine, keeping that tummy tucked and body pressed away from the ground. A few more seconds. And rest. Nice job. Going back to the top with those split squats. So getting down to a nice 90 position, popping yourself up. And we're going to bring our chest just over that knee. And we're going to go down to 90 and back up. Nice, easy, controlled movements. Really working hard on stabilizing that weight, down and up, and loading that front leg. And switch legs. And start. Good. Pressing straight up. Stabilizing side to side as you move here. A few more. And done. Good. Next up, we've got those bent over snow angels. So we're going to get into a nice squat here, driving the hips back, getting low, hands coming up overhead and coming out wide, behind and back over, turning the hands over as you come down and around. Trying to keep your weight centered in the middle of both your feet. A few more seconds. And done. Good. Next up, we have our low hold side steps. So we're going to get down into that low squat again. Popping down and taking little steps out to the side along our mat. Moving back and forth, trying to keep those hips and shoulders nice and square. Few more seconds, keep working hard. I know the legs are burning. Getting our work in this Friday. Let's go one more there and back. And done. All right. Now we're going down to the mat. We have our push-ups, our slow 4-second count, down to the ground, 4-second count, back up. If you want, you can pop your knees up off the ground, but that can be pretty challenging. And I really want you guys to focus on controlling the press away from the ground with both your hands at the same time and at the same rate. So we're going to get started here. Folding the elbows down towards the hips as we lower. 3, 4, pressing up. 3, 4. Good. Nice and in control. Really trying to pay attention to how the shoulders are supporting this movement. Really working on lowering and pressing our body away at an even work rate. We got a few more here. Last one. And done. Good. Next up, we're finishing out with a 30-second plank. So getting our forearms down to the ground. Feet drop back, knees come up, and we're holding. Pressing the body away from the ground, tucking the belly button up to the spine, keeping our hips and shoulders nice and level. We're not sagging the hips below the shoulder or pulling them too high up above the shoulder line, but nice and level. A few more seconds. And relax. Good. Nice job. A little bit of a more intense lower body sort of endurance workout there. Getting a lot of the squat holds and quad work that we need to see. So nice job doing that. We're going to get a little bit into our stretching and cool down portion before we start with the guided breathing. But what we're going to do here is you can sit down on the ground if you'd like and go legs out. I've just got my heels folded underneath my hips. And we're going to come bring one hand up, bending at the head, and you're going to grab the elbow and pull it behind your head as you open up and stretch out your triceps and your lats here just a little bit. Trying to keep that chest nice and tall, spine upright, really pressing that elbow behind the head. Taking deep breaths in, starting to calm the body down. And switch sides. Coming down, bringing that other arm up, elbow behind the head, placing the hand in the middle of the back and pulling that elbow up and behind. Holding and release. Good. Next up, we have our sumo squat. So we're going to get up onto our feet here. Now I want you to get your feet about a little bit wider than hip width. And we're just going to drop down into a nice wide squat, taking your elbows to press on the inside of the knee as you bring the hands down. And starting to just gently rock back and forth between the hips here, if you can, but really just starting to press into the inner hip, opening up a lot of tension there. Good. Taking deep breaths in and exhaling out. And gently pushing yourself up and out. All right. For our next stretch, we're going to bring we're going to bring our shin down to the ground. So if you can see here, I've just like that figure 4 stretch we were doing before, we're going to fold one shin up towards the top of our mat and extend the other leg back. From here, I'm going to push my body and hips up and forward so that I can really get into that stretch as I bring the forearms down, getting into the glute and the deep hip here. This one is called our Pigeon Pose. Not sure why. Maybe it's got something to do with the tucked wing. Taking deep breaths in, continuing to calm the body down. Holding a few more seconds. Before switching sides. So I'm rolling back up onto the hip. I'm going to fold this other leg up towards the opposite end of the mat. And I'm extending my opposite leg backwards, bringing my forearms down and dropping the hips into the stretch. Holding, breathing deeply in for a few more seconds. And relaxing out of the stretch, rolling up, and we're gonna lay flat on our mat here, getting into a nice Savasana pose. We're gonna breathe deeply in through the nose for an 8-second count. And exhale for 8 as well. Breathing in. And out. Inhaling in. Just bringing relaxation to the mind. Exhaling out. Letting the tension and stress dissolve. Breathing in. And exhaling out. Slowly coming back, getting up, and getting a little stretch or whatever you need, some water. Thank you so much for coming in today, stopping by our functional fitness. As just a reminder, our fitness center in San Rafael will be shut down for the 2 weeks of rest. So get your guys nice, long, restful break in. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel if you're interested in staying up with our routine and getting in with our classes and everything. So have a good holidays, guys. And
Happy holidays.
Happy New Year. Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.